All right, in this video, we are going to look at the compensation plan specifically for Century 21 Looking Glass, but we're also going to be answering a little bit more the question of what is Century 21's commission plan. While each individual brokerage and franchisee may run different, they both kind of are built on the same premise and the same ideas that we'll kind of go over when we're looking at Century 21 Looking Glass's compensation plan. And that'll give you a rough idea of where Century 21 kind of sits on the commission plan structure, just to help you get a better idea whether you're thinking about changing brokerages or you're doing some research or you're looking for your first place to hold your brokerage license. With that said, let's go ahead and dive right in. I think the easiest way to explain this is to actually start off with an example rather than just kind of looking at it generically. So what we're going to do is we're going to run through three different examples here. In the first column, I have 150,000, basically a home value. So what would it be if we sold one single transaction? And then again at $200,000 if we sold a $200,000 home. And then again, if we did our total gross sales of $6 million in total production, what would that look like for our income or our take-home pay based on the commission plan at Century 21 Looking Glass? So we are going to assume a gross commission of 3% on a single side. Of course, if you happen to, double dip or you happen to be on both sides of the transaction, you might be able to do, 6%, or you might charge 3.25, or you might only get 2.75%. So keep in mind that will influence your net income. But again, this is for demonstration purposes and a way to look at how the commission structure is set up. So in the first column here, we're going at the 150. 150,000 is what the median home value here. That's approximately what it is here where I live in Lansing, Michigan. Our gross commission, 3% on that side, therefore is going to be $4,500, with 30% going to the broker. Until we hit our $22,500 cap, and then 0% to the broker, which means the agent is going to keep 100% of that commission after we're able to pay $22,500 to Century 21 Looking Glass. And we'll look at that a little bit more here when we are going over the $6 million there in production. So that's going to leave us, after we pay the brokerage, we're going to be left with $3,150. And then there's a Century 21 franchise fee with 8% of the gross commission going to the franchisor or Century 21, and leaving us with $2,790. And then there is a transaction and E&O fees. Now this can vary. On the low end, it can be 20 for the E&O fee. Or it can be a little bit higher depending on the transaction fee if you're charging one and what you're helping Century or having Century 21 Looking Glass do for you during the transaction. So for example, if you want Century 21 Looking Glass to go ahead and install the sign for you in the yard, they're going to charge a nominal fee for that, and that's going to come out of your transaction fee as long as you are also charging a transaction fee. So keep that in mind. If you're totally okay and comfortable with, going out and putting out your own signs in the yard, then you can actually and definitely save money on that end. So for this example, we just went ahead and listed the smaller of the amounts of $20 that we're just paying the E&O fee, and that left us with a balance of 2,770. So our net commission and income on that is 2,770 for a $150,000 home. Looking at an example for $200,000, it's basically the same thing in terms of the structure that we ran in column one. And that left us with $3,700. So this gives you an idea on the individual transactions that, or the income that you can make on an individual transaction. When we look at total production of 6 million, we are going to hit our cap, so we will pay 22,500 to the broker, Century 21 Looking Glass. But after that, we're going to be able to keep predominantly 100% of our commission income on any transaction. So with that being said, if we're doing 6 million in total production, we're doing 180,000 in gross commission. Leave after we pay our broker cap, we're going to be left with $157,500, or 8% to Century 21, which leaves us with $143,100. And then we just estimated kind of around $1,500 between our E&O and transaction fees. We assumed that a majority of them we're going to charge the transaction fee, or we're going to do our own services, more of our own services. And so we're really only going to pay that E&O fee. But we thought maybe on some of those transactions, we're actually going to have to pay the transaction fee because we didn't charge it, or whatever the various scenario might be. So keep in mind that this row here, the transaction and or E&O fee, could vary. It could fluctuate depending on what you're charging and what you're wanting Century 21 Looking Glass to do for you during the transaction. But the net income here is 141,600 out of 180,000, or on this, and the $6 million in total production. So how does this compare to other Century 21s in the air, around? It's pretty comparable. A lot of Century 21s are set up with a similar model of doing a split, a higher split, like 70/30 or 60/40, those kinds of splits with 8% of gross commission, or 6%. I've seen 6% gross commission to the franchisor, Century 21. So there's different models like that, that you'll find around different Century 21s. So it's important to reach out to your specific local brokerage if you're actually curious about what your local brokerage and how their commission plan is set up. But it's going to be very similar to something like this. Of course, that's not for all of them, but a majority of them are going to be modeled based off of this. So with that said, though, I think it's important to note, because there is this commission value trade-off that occurs in the industry. And you might initially look at Century 21 and say, "Whoa, that's too high. That's not a very good split," because there are definitely lower cost brokerages out there, like EXP Realty. Sometimes you can get better deals with Keller Williams and that sort of a stuff. But I think there's a commission value trade off, right? So let's take a look at these basically in four quadrants. You could have one of four scenarios basically occurring for each brokerage. You have you have a high commission and a high value, which is where a broker offers a lot of support, but they are going to charge a higher commission fee as a result of it. But again, you're getting a lot of value, a lot of support in terms of technology, resources in terms of training, as well as staff for you. The second one is low commission and high value. These ones don't really exist when you think about it, because they're going to be unprofitable brokerages. I mean, you can't really offer a lot of value and not charge for it, right? Things cost money. If I'm going to provide support for you, or training for you, that's going to cost me money, and I'm going to need to have a compensation for that in order to be able to provide those sorts of things for you. So these brokerages don't really exist. You might be able to find them in a momentary time period in a market or something like that, but by and large, they're not going to be around. The third scenario is a high commission and low value, and these are the brokerages that you absolutely want to watch out for and avoid. They're brokers that basically charge a lot of money, have high commission splits, 50/50, 60/40, whatever it is, but they don't really add any value. I know of one, or I can think of one that comes to my example. I won't name it, but in my local market, a majority of the money is spent on real estate offices for themselves. And so they offer a lot of ability to come into an office, and they're paying astronomical fees to have 5, 6, 7 offices in the area at different locations throughout Lansing. But that doesn't really add a whole lot of value as a real estate agent, right? If I'm getting started in terms of training and support, it just gives me a place to work from. But especially given this COVID environment, the office doesn't add a lot of value. And so those brokerages you absolutely want to watch out for, because you're going to be paying a lot of commission, but then you're still going to be responsible for a lot of your own stuff, like getting the training you need to succeed, building your own marketing channels, and following up with leads. So these are definitely the brokers you want to watch out for. And then low commission, low value, that's where you're going to find your your Keller Williams or EXP. Sure, you're going to keep a lot of your compensation and a lot of your money in terms of your commission, but you're also going to be responsible for a lot of expenses that you might not be at other brokerages. Century 21 kind of sits here with the high commission, high value. That's where I would place some. While they certainly have a pretty friendly commission structure, you'll often find it's on the higher end when comparing it to other brokerages. But I think all of that comes at a value that I want to talk about here is that our brokerage, specifically Century 21 Looking Glass, can help you grow your business and maximize your income. So these are some of the things that we offer for basically uh, no fee and no cost to you. There is a minimal fee that we do like to include. That's just a $50, inclusive office fee, which you'll find to be some of the lowest in the area. Don't be surprised if you go around looking at brokerages and find, office fees anywhere from, 0 to 300, 400, $500 at some companies. And that's important to know. So I kind of highlighted a few of these important ones is that we have a fairly distributed lead generation system with no referral fees to the broker. Sometimes a lot of brokers, if you get a lead from them, they're going to charge you 30% on top of their already, 30, 40, 50% that they're already charging for their commission. And then the second thing is that we have two CRM systems, Business Builder and Zap. My favorite is going to be Business Builder. I've mentioned it in a previous video and in the tools video about why joining Century 21. That is just an amazing, absolutely amazing tool that's going to help you automate your marketing to drive consistent leads automatically. So, with that said, if you're looking for a better brokerage, we would love to absolutely connect and we want to hear from you.